This episode of the Local Hustlers podcast is brought to you by Flamingo Pools, your go-to maintenance and repair company in the East Valley. Stop wasting your valuable time trying to take care of your pool and let the professionals at Flamingo Pools take care of it for you. Visit azflamingopools.com for a free quote today.
You're listening to the Local Hustlers Podcast, East Valley Locals. Get connected with small businesses near you and dive deep into their stories, mindset, and motives. Entrepreneurs everywhere. Get ready to be inspired by business owners, entrepreneurs, and hustlers that you can relate to and learn from. And now, your hosts, Dallin Huso and Ridge Waldberg.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Local Hustlers podcast. We've got a little bit of a different setup this week. So due to everything going on with the coronavirus and social distancing, we're trying to do our part. So for the next little while, we're actually going to be recording all of our podcasts remotely. So we're all here in our own homes recording this. So we hope that it doesn't have too much of an effect on the audio quality. I just want to make sure that we're still able to get some content out to you guys and interview some awesome business owners in the East Valley. So today we're here with Kate Friedrichs of Wagging Pet Resort. Kate, how's it going today?
It's going great. Thanks, Dallin. How are you doing?
We're doing good. We're super excited for this interview to have you on the show today. Before we kind of get into it, why don't you take a couple of minutes and tell us a bit about who you are and give us a bit of a background.
Kind of life before Wagging Tails.
Life before, was there life before Wagging Tails?
You never know.
So I actually work a day job that's very different from the shop. I work corporate finance. So I have a strong business background on the financial end, doing budgets, forecasts, profitability analysis, all of the numbers things that honestly tend to be a big hang up for most entrepreneurs. And so I have done that for years. That's my entire career. I wound up deciding to be a business owner because honestly, I wanted to do my own thing. So you can imagine I can't be very creative at my day job. That tends to be frowned upon for us finance people to show too much creativity. Yeah. So that it just really, there was this big, for lack of a better way to put it, this big hole that I had that I needed to find a way to get that type of creative business energy out.
For sure.
That's awesome.
So going back, so you went to college, graduated, got this job, but you had some sort of passion. So where did that come from? Why did you go the college route when you had this desire to be creative and start something else?
Because I was too young to know any better, to be perfectly frank. I'm very glad that I went to college. It has given me the financial freedom to personally to be able to pursue this. But had I known in my early 20s what I knew now, I would have just jumped right into it. My parents told me for forever, my father was self-employed, and he told me ever since I was a little kid, I should just own my own business. And I always just thought he was kind of nuts. But turns out he was right. I love it. I absolutely love it. But yeah, I went for my undergrad in accounting, and I actually also have a master's degree in business. So I really loaded up on the college side of things.
Yeah. When did you realize that you wanted to do other things besides what you studied in college?
Well, it's actually a really interesting story. So I am originally from Minnesota. I moved to Arizona with my husband, and at that time it was our 3 dogs. We are now up to 5. They're sort of like potato chips, just can't have one. We moved here just over 5 years ago, and we did it because we just didn't like the snow. We wanted something different. So it was here or San Antonio based on the types of employment opportunities my husband would have. And so we picked Arizona. We got here, had no friends. It was a huge life change, obviously. A huge amount of stress, stressful for work, stressful for, just personally. And I then injured myself doing powerlifting, which was the one sport I found that I've been very passionate about. So
Yeah.
I have no friends. I can't work out to manage my mental and physical health that way. I have a job that's brand new. And then to top it all off, in my early 30s, then I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So it was a very late in life diagnosis. So I had all of this happen in the course of about 8 months. And I decided, you know what? I think that corporate life is probably killing me, is
Yeah.
really where I got to. And I thought I need an exit strategy. So what is that going to be? Because I need to be able to be financially stable. I need to be able to enjoy what I'm doing. I don't want to retire at 50 and, you know, flounce around. Like, I would like to
Yeah.
have purpose and to feel like I'm making an impact. And so it just sort of coalesced into this magical thing that the stars aligned. I found the business to purchase. It was a very new baby business, and I did it.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Told you it was a crazy story.
Yeah. No, it's a lot there. I want to dive into a lot of that. So, with the timeline here, how long ago was this when you originally purchased the business?
So I purchased the business just over 4 years ago.
Okay.
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 And what
Yep.
was? Oh, go ahead, Dallin.
No, I was just gonna say, what's the process of finding a business to purchase? Like whether you had that money or had to get a loan. Did you for sure want to purchase a business, or were you considering starting something from scratch?
So I wanted to purchase a business because at the time I was thinking it was going to be essentially an immediate exit from corporate. So I wanted to purchase something that would be able to help me bring an immediate return and help, pay my personal mortgage and other obligations.
Yeah.
So I decided I wanted to go that route. Then I had to figure out how to purchase a business, which turns out is sort of like buying a house. It was pretty interesting to figure out how to navigate all of that, find a broker. And then I made a stop at the Bank of Dad. And the Bank of Dad loaned me the money. So,
Oh.
yeah, you're never too old to borrow money from your parents, I think.
Hey, whatever works, honestly, whatever works. And then why the dog grooming business? Because I'm sure there's a lot of things that you could have bought in.
So, dogs are something I've always been very passionate about. Ever since I was a young child, I've just animals of all sorts. I was that nerdy little kid that would get the Ranger Rick magazines and read those. I've always loved National Geographic. There's just something about animals that has always really spoken to me. Um, in Minnesota, I was on the board of directors for Greyhound Rescue. I've done a lot of fostering over the years. I've done a lot of working with high needs dogs, whether they have large physical injury or emotional injury. So it's just really that's the part of my life that I really wanted to spend my twilight years in, for lack of a better way to put it, is handling animals in that manner. So finding a business that I could actually make money I walk in the door and my face lights up. I just love being there and around all of my staff and around the dogs, around the cats, everything.
Well, and like you said, the corporate life was just getting to you, and at that point you knew that you needed to do something that would ultimately just make you happy. And
Correct.
yeah.
Yep. And I do enjoy my corporate job. It's not that I don't. It's just it only uses a very specific set of skills that I have. And I don't have the ability to branch out with that without greatly changing what the role is that I have.
Yeah. Were there any other businesses that you were strongly considering purchasing, or were you pretty set on something around animals or dogs?
I was all in on dogs. I didn't know it until I saw the business. It's weird having an intent to purchase and not knowing what you want to purchase. That was a very weird situation to be in, just cruising listings and going, oh, look, a landscaping company. Well, I could learn about fountains, and no, that's not my thing. Okay, you know, and then I just stumbled across actually two different dog businesses that were both owned by the same owner, and she was selling. Um, and I just went, well, that's it. That's the business. Let's go check it out, see if it's viable.
So for anyone that is considering buying a business, what are some of the key factors that you looked at that you were wanting? Whether it was, you know, the cash flow, the brand, the customer loyalty that they already had. What were some things that were important to you?
For me, it was opportunity. That was my biggest thing. So to be able to go in and say, okay, how undervalued is this business really? How much opportunity is there, and how quickly can I grow it? Over the last 4 years, I've driven revenues up over 380%.
Oh, wow. Congrats.
Yeah, yeah.
So you weren't really worried about if it was a good or thriving business or not. You just wanted to get something that you liked and then build it.
That had opportunity to grow.
Yes. And I mean, the business was running, it was dipping into the red. It was sometimes a little in the black. But it was nothing it was bones.
Yeah.
I bought the bones and built on the framework, recognized the assets that were there, made sure those shone.
Uh-huh. What are some of the immediate changes that you made after taking over?
I changed the name immediately. It was called Happy Tails Spa, and the the logo was like goofy clip art and like a dog in a bathtub with bubbles on it, and it was not well branded at all. There was no website. It actually took me almost a year working nights and weekends to build a website. Yeah, that was a labor of love. Take a strong accounting finance person and try to write web content, right? That's a different ball game. But it's sort of a curse. You don't trust anybody else to be your voice, right?
Yeah.
That's the challenge. But so really it was branding was the number one thing right away, because it was so, I knew I was going to change a lot, and so I needed to get ahead of it there so that I had a consistent message.
Okay. And I guess, what is that message that you try to relay through your brand?
That we're going to take care of your pets as if they're ours. And I think you can feel that when you come in the door.
Yeah, you definitely can.
For sure. Why don't you tell us a bit about what customers can expect if they come to Wagging Tails Pet Resort? What do you guys offer?
So we offer boarding, grooming, and daycare services. So we tend to have a customer that'll come in for one of those three things. That tends to be their immediate need. And then once they get to know us and know the staff and see the level of care that we give, then they usually cross over into one or both of the other services that are out there.
What's your favorite service that you offer?
For me, it's daycare. I love just because it's more carefree. There's not a goal. It's not a goal-driven activity other than having fun. That is the goal. The goal is to send home a tired dog.
That's a fun goal.
Yeah. So it's very in the moment.
Yeah.
Which is something that I think everybody struggles with, right? We all tend to ruminate on things or daydream, and it keeps you in the moment, which I enjoy. It's a skill I need to get better at, being present.
For sure. Do you find that you have a lot of customers that are repeat customers that come back after their first visit?
Yes, the vast majority of our customers are repeat customers.
That's awesome.
What can you attribute that to?
It's my staff. Absolutely, hands down. I mean, to be perfectly honest, none of this is rocket science, right? It's not that hard to treat a dog well so that the dog wants to come back. Yeah. And it's the staff that makes that happen. And so really at the end of the day, what's selling it is the dog's behavior. Awesome. Because somebody picks their pet up and their pet's super excited to see them but doesn't want to leave. Yeah. That's the sale.
Yeah. So to kind of go into the staff, when you bought the company, was there a staff there already, or did they all leave when you came? How did that all work?
There was a staff of 1,
Oh,
which in FTE terms was about a quarter FTE. So, certainly she did not have that much to do. She was there open to close, just kind of waiting for business to come in. She'd have days where there was not a single animal in the building.
wow.
Yep.
So then how did you go about staffing? How did you hire? What was your goal when you were hiring and looking for people to work?
My goal was to not do it the way that I am forced to do it in my day job, because I think it's such a crapshoot, right? You don't know what you're going to get. And as a small business, an employee can make everything amazing for the entire group, or it can poison everything. I take chances on people. That's what I've decided to do, and it's worked really well for me sometimes, and it's really burned me other times. But I sleep great at night. I know that I am doing things to change lives for people. A perfect example of that actually is my shop manager, and she's very open about this. I'm not releasing any confidence to share this with you. I met her. It was the first weekend that I owned the shop, and she called looking for boarding for her dog for 2 months because she was going to jail for a felony DUI.
Oh,
And so this girl, she's, at that point she was in her mid 20s. Her entire life was falling apart around her. She was like giving things away, selling her car, figuring out storage for what she had left, and all she really cared about was her dog. And what was she going to do with this dog to get him taken care of? Because all her family, coincidentally, lives in Minnesota. So that's very funny. Like, I don't know, 3 miles from my house.
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Small world, right?
Yeah.
But so when she got out, I was at a point where I needed to hire some part-time help, and I hired her. I thought, well, I already know she loves her dog more than anything, and that's the number one criteria for me.
Yeah.
So she worked her way from being part-time help to managing the shop. She's my right-hand person. I couldn't do it without her.
Wow.
That's awesome. Do you feel like that's been able to help her kind of get back on track with life and
Absolutely.
help her get to where
Hmm.
she wants to be?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yes, she will
Yeah.
say that very clearly. Yes, she never knew that she wanted to work with animals either. She just thought this was like a little way station for her as she went to pursue another career. And she tells me all the time, I'm never getting another job ever. She just wants to stay there. Yeah.
So that's a risk that a lot of even like experienced business owners aren't willing to take. So what is it about you that makes you comfortable to take those risks? And like you said, you're able to sleep well at night.
Um, I trust my gut a lot, which I think is something that most business owners do. I, to me, it's important enough to take a chance on a person that it's worth it to me to accept that risk. I would hope that if I'm ever in that situation that she was in and trying to turn my life around, that somebody would take a chance on me too.
Yeah.
That's super
That
cool.
that says a lot about you and who you are and how you want your company to be ran. So that's really awesome. I really admire that. So your other employees, who do you have? Who comes into work every day? Because
So
you
I
have a lot.
have, sorry, go ahead.
You have a lot going on there.
Yes. So my shop manager is in, Alyssa. She's in during the week. I have 2 full-time groomers that are in. And then I have 3 part-time either kennel technicians or they help also at the front desk. It tends to be a job that it's hard for somebody to take it on a full-time basis unless they're either a young student or managing the shop, just because working with dogs, you're not going to be a bazillionaire. The
Yeah.
money just isn't there, right? So one of my gals actually has a different full-time job just like I do, and she works there because she loves it. So she works anywhere from 10 to 18 hours a week for me, and then another 40 at her day
Oh
job.
wow, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
she's a little nutty like I am. She likes to work a lot, and I mean, I always thought it was just the cheesiest thing, but when you love it, it's just not work. It's fun for her. She looks forward to coming to work.
For sure. What's the culture that you try to create with all your employees?
I'd say trust. Trust is the number one thing. We talk about it a lot. We talk about vulnerability and being willing to stand in front of each other and say, when you said this, I felt this way, or I don't understand what you need, or you're not giving me what I need, whatever it is, we actually have those hard conversations. And it's not me standing there saying, okay, you talk to you and have this conversation. They'll do that on their own, because we've built such a safe environment for that. And I think that is why, um, that's why the team performs as it does together, because they trust each other.
That's super cool. So I'm curious about your college experience. I know you said that you studied some business while in college. Has that helped you at all in starting this business?
Yes. Not in the way that I would have thought. It's given me confidence.
Okay.
That's really it. It helped me be willing to take the leap.
Right.
But when I look back at what I've done in my career, my career prepared me for it. Not my career was the education, not the piece of paper that I got going to college.
So for somebody that's trying to decide to either go to college or just become an entrepreneur and start their own thing, what would be your advice to them?
I don't know. I'm qualified to give them advice. I trust your gut and find your path. I mean, I think that's the advice. It's not. I don't think it's something that someone else can dictate to you what the best way is to do that.
Yeah.
That being said, I've been married now it'll be 21 years this year.
Wow.
And boy, you better believe he's been with me every step of the way, and we make decisions together.
For sure.
Because I would not be sitting here saying it's been 21 years if I didn't let him help dictate what we were doing.
Yeah.
So does he play a pretty big role in the business, or is he more there just to kind of support you and encourage you with the decisions that you're making?
Well, it's changed over time. He initially, once we purchased the business, we actually decided to have him quit his day job and work there as my shop manager. This is my now current shop manager was in jail. So we thought, okay, we need somebody to manage it. I can't afford to pay somebody. So great, we'll do that. We'll bank on my income personally, and then we'll have him work there. Well, we quickly decided, and he loves to say that he would rather be married to me than work for me, and he can't do both. So he says he quit. I say I fired him. At the end of the day, he doesn't work there anymore.
We're gonna have to get him on the air and tell us this side of the story.
It was not easy to recover from that. Quite honestly, I can make light of it now, but that was very rough. We, you know how they say that married couples should never hang wallpaper together? Like they shouldn't be in a business together. I don't think. In most instances, and again, this is a generalization, right? But he and I, the reason that our marriage works is because we're such different people and we balance each other so well. But to own a business and say, okay, I am the ultimate boss and he works for me, that just did not work out for us.
Okay, cool. Well, glad that's all worked out now.
Yes.
So with all these employees, what would you say that your role in the business is, kind of on a day-to-day basis?
So, I certainly don't watch over them. Everybody there is very self-sufficient. I see my job to make sure that the voice of the business is consistent.
Yeah.
And that's been very, very important to me. My job as far as my staff is to make sure that I'm available to them if they ever need anything. I also try not to answer their questions. And by that, I mean, they'll contact me and say, hey, this happened today. Uh, can you call this client back? I didn't know what to tell them. And I'll just say, well,
Uh-huh.
I could call them. What do you think you should tell them? And
Uh-huh.
and my goal is to guide them, to help them learn so that they can continue to be more and more self-sufficient. Not that I don't want to be there for them, but you always need to grow, right? And no matter what you
Yeah.
do, I think you need to continue to learn. And so I consider that my job for them, and how I can support them.
Got it. One last question going back to college. Would you say that you regret doing that and going that path, or are you glad that it's worked out the way that it has?
I don't regret it. I actually almost have several different degrees because I couldn't make up my mind. I was almost a
Uh-huh.
German teacher, so that would have been a whole different path to go down, right? Um, but I think you learn. I mean, in anything you do, you're learning, right? So I'm
Yeah.
sure that had I not gone to college, I wouldn't be in this position now.
Right.
I
For
might be
sure.
in a similar position, but I probably wouldn't have felt comfortable enough to pick up and move across the country. And I didn't have a job at that point. Neither did my
Yeah.
husband.
Yeah.
We did it on a leap of faith.
Uh-huh.
So I guess, no, I don't regret it simply because I like where I'm at now.
Cool. Cool.
Making the most of where you're at, right?
Yep, absolutely. There goes that living in the present that I'm working so hard on.
Awesome. So how do you balance owning a business and having a full-time corporate job? What's your secret?
I'm tired. There's not a secret. There's not like a magic ingredient to make it work.
Uh-huh.
My husband helps me do that.
Yeah.
Honestly, he is incredibly understanding 6 days a week, and he says Monday through Saturday, that's fine. Other people get you. On Sunday, that is our day. That
Yeah.
is it. You are not available unless it is truly an emergency. And so he
Mhm.
has really, by him dictating that that's what he needed, that was his non-negotiable.
Yeah.
That Sundays are my favorite day of the week because it's a reset. We spend time and we don't even always do stuff together. Sometimes we're like sitting in our office here, each of us working on something, but we're in proximity,
Right. Yeah.
and that just seems to be enough. It's I don't know, it sounds really weird when I say it out loud.
Yeah.
But that's what's just really
No. Yeah.
worked for me, is to have
No.
that firm reset button, to
Uh-huh.
always count on that day.
Yeah.
And then again, going back to having staff that I don't manage. I let them make their own decisions.
Yeah.
If I have clients that come in that are completely unreasonable, off the rails,
Mhm.
I fire clients. I mean, I just don't tolerate that at the shop. Life is too short to have people walking on pins and needles. I want
Yeah.
these women to feel empowered and to know that there's a certain level of respect that I demand they be treated with.
Yeah.
And that's gone a long way too, I think, with promoting an environment where they do feel comfortable standing up and saying what they need or what they think is right or wrong.
That's
For
awesome.
sure.
And I guess with that busy schedule that you have, like, you have to have a why. And what's your why? What keeps you going every day?
I knew you'd have a stumper. Let's see. What's my why?
Got it.
I mean,
Yep.
without getting into like crazy detail or anything, but what's
No, I think it's curiosity. I think that's really my why. I love to learn. And maybe that feeds into why I don't have any regrets about spending so much time in college as I did, because
Uh-huh.
learning is just a drug to me. Like, I just love learning. It makes my brain go a million miles a minute. I can learn something here and already think about how I'm going to apply it over here.
Yeah.
So it's just getting up in that constant learning, which again, in my day job, I don't get that as much. I'm at senior enough of a level that not that many surprises come my way anymore.
So that's probably a good balance too, because you're pretty comfortable with what you do at your day job, but you're able to stretch and grow in other areas with the pet shop.
Yeah, that would be a really appropriate way to put it. Yes, very fair.
So outside of wagging tails, do you have any other hobbies or activities that you like to do that you're able to find time for with your busy schedule?
Well, okay, don't laugh. I just started playing Minecraft.
There you
Oh,
go.
Yeah, hey, you're never too old to try that either.
no.
Just today, actually, I was in a realm, and my niece and nephew from Minnesota were in there too, and we were all kind of chatting away. That was pretty cool. They were teasing me about how short I am, which, okay, fine. But it's a great way to connect, and I'm finding it's also just sort of a brain churning, soothing type of activity.
Uh-huh.
That's awesome.
So
Kind
that's
of
been pretty
relaxing.
fun.
That's
Outside of
cool.
that, I'm a lifetime knitter. I love knitting.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
That's very Minnesotan. So
Hmm.
um, I'm working on an Afghan right now, actually. Um, and I love to read. That's the other thing, which probably
Nice.
just really feeds into knowledge and creativity. I just
That's cool.
love reading.
That's cool. Well, that's awesome that you're able to kind of fit all those things in with such a busy schedule.
Well, sleep trumps that, I will admit, but
That's
fit it in as I can.
number one.
Sleep
That's
is
cool.
definitely a good thing when you're crazy busy.
Yes.
So, would you say that, 'cause obviously you love what you do with Wagging Tails Pet Resort, would you say that you also love your corporate job?
I would say there are components of it, yes, that I absolutely do love.
Mm,
I think the biggest thing that I love is being able to take somebody in a senior leadership role who doesn't necessarily understand the ins and outs of how different financial things work. Like
yeah.
what are the levers that I can pull to make this product more profitable, or how can I evaluate my business this way? And to be able to take all of that data, boil it up to a level that I can give them 3 to 5 key points
Hmm.
and watch that light bulb go on and help
Hmm.
somebody manage their business. That's the part that I love about my day
Yeah.
job.
Do you spend more time cleaning your pool than you spend swimming in it? Then call Flamingo Pools today. Flamingo Pools is your go-to swimming pool maintenance and repair company in the East Valley. Whether it's weekly maintenance, repairs, green to cleans, or one-time cleanings, Flamingo Pools will take care of you. Honest, reliable, and innovative. Just a few of the many good things Flamingo Pools customers have to say about them. Ask them about their mineral treatment, which will keep your chemical levels down, allowing you to have a healthier bathing experience. At Flamingo Pools, they know that your pool was made to be enjoyed, so let them handle the rest. Check them out at azflamingopools.com or give them a call at 480-422-6013. Mention this podcast and you'll get your first month of maintenance completely free. That's azflamingopools.com and 480-422-6013.
So, one question that I've been thinking of this entire time. So, here's the golden question for you. But what has kind of stopped you from quitting your day job and going all in on your pet resort?
A couple different things. I've thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, there's probably a fairly irrational fear that I have that I won't
Yeah.
like it as much when I'm doing it all the time. But that's very much forefront for me. Like,
Yeah.
okay, am I going to get sick of this once I finally have the time to devote completely?
Yeah.
Because wouldn't that just suck to take something you love and find out it's not really what you wanted, right? So
Right.
there's that fear. But then outside of that is, even though I got a great interest rate with the Bank of Dad for the purchase, I've put in a lot of money personally into building out several different areas within the shop because I have expanded it.
Yeah.
And then I also put in a ton of money in the first few years because I was running significantly in the red intentionally. I staffed it where I wanted it to be to
Yeah.
provide the service I needed to provide.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of businesses that are service-based business never get off the ground because they're running so lean that they can't differentiate themselves because they're providing a crappy service. It's real counterintuitive. So
Yeah.
I went all in personally from a financial aspect and threw a ton of money into it to be able to staff it and do the right thing at the very
Yeah.
beginning.
So
So there's still
basically,
that debt to pay off is the other thing.
yeah. Okay, makes sense. So you kind of built up the infrastructure to where it needed to be, even though you didn't necessarily have the customer base yet, but it would allow you to offer the service that you wanted to allow.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
I love that. I think that's some great advice for
Yeah.
tons of business owners that maybe it doesn't totally make sense financially to hire that next person, but the level of service that it could offer could do wonders for you, and can't really keep track of that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It
Yep.
definitely can be scary to like look at those numbers and be like, oh, well, I'm gonna lose this much. Well, it's like no, but think about how much you could gain from that. So that's
Exactly.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the goals going forward for Wagging Tails? Do you wanna stay where you're at? Do you wanna open up more locations?
So the shortest term goal is to pay off the remaining personal debt that I have related to staffing the business. Once I do that, I haven't decided. Isn't that funny? Part of me thinks, oh man, I would love to open several locations, but
Yeah.
then it's staffing is always the hardest part, right? And so it's taken me a long time to figure out how to hire the right people and get the right person for the team. So even if it might be the right person in general, if it's not the right one for the current team that I have, then it just doesn't matter.
Right.
And the thought of trying to do that from scratch is overwhelming,
Uh-huh.
just because it's just hard, man. People are hard.
Yeah. So kind of just winging it right now, seeing where it takes you.
Well, I'm just focusing a little more on the shorter term, just
Okay.
finishing paying off that debt.
Yeah.
I
Which
do
there's
have some more
nothing wrong with.
renovations.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to know that there are so many different things that I could do. I have been approached by some other contacts that I have to start another grooming salon near them, or do
Uh-huh.
some things like that. And again, it's just when you start to think about scope of control, going back to staffing, it's sort of overwhelming. I think I would have to quit my day job to be able to
Yeah,
manage multiple locations.
for sure.
I would not find another Alyssa, another shop manager like I have. There's no way I
Yeah.
find another person like that.
Uh-huh. Gotcha. So you mentioned some issues you had, obviously working with family. What's been your experience getting a loan from family? Has that been a positive experience, or have you had mixed feelings about that?
It's been incredibly positive.
Uh-huh.
I honestly asked my father sort of as a last resort.
Yeah.
When we moved here, we depleted a fair amount of our savings because it
Yeah.
wasn't a long planned out thing. And we wound up giving away most of our furniture and stuff before we moved. We just made a clean break. So then we get here. Now we need to furnish a house. Well, that's expensive to do that all at once. And so, it has gone splendidly well.
Yeah.
I'm shocked, honestly. You would think that that wouldn't go well. You always hear don't borrow money from family.
Right.
He actually, with everything going on with the coronavirus, I contacted him and just said, can I hold up a few payments here for you? I'm just not sure what's going to happen. And absolutely, no problem. He's very supportive.
That's
He
cool.
keeps telling me that he wished that he would have negotiated a little differently and gotten an equity deal instead of cash plus interest. But I've let him know that ship has sailed. Nope, we are not renegotiating that.
Already made the agreement.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, I think it's super cool. I know a lot of people are either don't want to deal with that, or they feel like it's the easy way out, taking kind of a handout from a parent. And I think I even used to think that a while ago. But I mean, if an opportunity is there to get that money, sometimes it can be so hard to get it from a bank or a lender. Why not take advantage of the opportunity to go to family or close friends first and try to get a loan from them.
Yeah. Well, and when you look at, I mean, unsecured debt is just really scary.
Yeah.
It's just a scary thing to take on.
Yeah.
Even now with my business, I have very good personal credit, but my business doesn't have credit. I have to have a deposit at the utility company still.
Yeah.
For my, I mean, they
Mhm.
take the money every month. It's always paid. It's never a problem. I've offered to sign a personal guarantee. They won't take that. Like, it's just credit's weird, especially
Yeah.
for business,
So you mentioned the coronavirus a little bit. I'd like to kind of get into that. How has that kind of affected you, affected the business, affected kind of your outlook on the immediate future?
Well, and I said I'm sleeping great at night. I was until the coronavirus came along.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely has frankly been terrifying for me.
Yeah.
Um, because virtually overnight, my business dried up. I just saw it go, and it was just like,
Wow.
oh my goodness, I've spent years doing this,
Yeah.
and it just poof, it was gone. Um, we we are designated as an essential service.
Okay.
I did speak with the governor's office, so that was a huge weight lifted
Yeah.
to get that designation. But we were closed for a week before we got that clarification, and that's scary. I mean,
Wow.
I had to lay off all my staff. I've never cried so much in my life. That was
Mm-hmm.
absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Um, and they were all so supportive. I mean, here you're telling somebody I can't afford to employ you anymore, and they say, you know what, it's going to be great. It's no problem. It's going to be back. I can't wait. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Just humbling to me.
People are still
But
going to
now that
have dogs, right?
they are, and their dogs still need to get groomed,
Mm-hmm.
and their dogs still need daycare. That's been the other thing that I'm thrilled our client base really has a firm read on, that their dogs do still need a lot of exercise.
Yeah. So what's your advice to all these other business owners out there that, may or may not be essential, but that are, kind of struggling with the same things of having to lay people off, not knowing what the future holds, having to shut down for a certain amount of time?
I think be honest with your staff.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Everybody's scared. Just I think so many owners fall into this trap of, well, I need to put on this stiff upper lip. I need to be very brave and tell everybody it's going to be okay. And we all know that nobody knows. No one knows this. Nobody has lived through this that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
alive today. I
Yeah.
mean, this is just such a crazy time. It's okay to tell your staff, I don't know what's going to happen. This is what we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Let me help you file for unemployment.
Yeah.
That's an okay thing. Take advantage of every single government program that you can.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing to take assistance from the government.
Yeah. And there's a lot out there that are a lot of programs out there that are trying to help boost small
There's
businesses
so
that are
many.
struggling.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Have you personally been able to benefit or take advantage of any of those so far?
I have. Yes, I have been able to. I'm happy to share details if you would like them.
Yeah. No, yeah,
Yeah, if
that'd
you
be
could share a
awesome.
little bit,
So,
definitely.
yeah, so I have already received my EIDL advance.
Okay.
And so that is $1,000 per employee that you had as of the beginning of January of this year.
Uh-huh.
And that's a grant. So that's pretty amazing. That helps. I mean,
Wow.
boom, 2 months of rent right there. Thank you.
Wow.
I am waiting now. My application is in and all my paperwork is submitted for my payroll protection loan.
Okay.
So I'm waiting to get that in as well. But
Yeah.
I'm really grateful I was able to rehire all but one staff without that so far. We're
Awesome.
doing, we're cruising along. We're at some reduced hours, but we're working.
Yeah. Cool.
How are you gonna start advertising the business more and stuff after this kind of the scare and stuff settles down?
So I'm actually seeing a lot of new customers now.
Really?
It seems to be really mixed what grooming salons choose to stay open.
Okay.
Some are choosing to, and some aren't. It's just a real personal decision based on, wherever you are
Yeah.
in your life.
Yeah.
And we're open, and I'm definitely advertising that. We're very careful how we interact with our clients. We don't have any customers coming in the building anymore. It's all
Okay.
curbside. We don't allow any customer collars or leashes. We tell people that your dog's going to get naked before they can come in the door.
There you go.
So we use our own slip leads for that, and we wear masks when we interact with our customers now. So we're taking those precautions, and that actually has helped us pick up business from customers whose other groomers are closed. We are also offering a pickup and drop off service, like to your home for an extra fee. We've been doing that for people that are real nervous too, and that's helped.
That's awesome. How have you advertised?
It's been mostly word of mouth, to be honest. I've done a lot of advertising on social media, and then just communications with our existing client base, and word gets around very, very quickly. Everybody knows somebody who owns a dog, right?
Yeah.
So, and people talk, you have these dogs who are much more higher maintenance for their coats, and these owners are freaked out. Their dogs are matted. This is a painful condition for their dog. What are they going to do? So they all talk, trying to find the place that they can go.
Awesome. Well, that's pretty much it for myself. I think I got every question answered down. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, that was a super good information. Ridge, you want to kind of take us into our next segment here?
Yeah, so our next segment, we're really slacking on trying to find a name for this. So we have a list of questions here that are going to be rapid fire questions. So you're going to have 60 seconds to answer as many questions. They're just like questions maybe about the business, just like fun little questions. So you have 60 seconds to answer as many as you can. I have a good feeling that you can beat the record. So
what's the prize? I mean, I am mission driven. What's the prize here if I win?
Oh man!
Number one on the leaderboards.
Number one on the leaderboard. Yeah. Hey, I'll take it. Bragging rights.
A big deal. So.
All
right, I'm ready.
All right, John. Let me know when you're ready.
All right, we're gonna have a 5-second countdown, and then Ridge will get us started. Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Favorite junk food?
Cheetos.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Pause time.
Music you turn on when nobody is around.
Aerosmith.
Nice.
If you're stuck on an island, what would you bring?
A book.
Favorite quote?
Do or do not, there is no try.
If you could have dinner with anyone in time, who would it be?
My husband.
Oh, that's sweet. Best business book you've read?
Anything by Brene Brown.
Best podcast you've listened to?
This one. Hello.
Let's
easy
go.
Answer.
Celebrity crush?
The guy in Maroon 5. Adam
Levine.
Adam Levine.
Thank you. Tattoos all the way. Yep.
TV show you could binge watch?
TV show I could binge watch. 100 Humans.
Oh, all right. I think you slid it in just in time. What do you think, Ridge?
I'll give it to her.
10. Is that the record, Ridge? I can't confirm or deny it. I have to check.
We're gonna have to check. We're away from each other right now, so I don't. We'll check on that. On that.
Okay. I get 2 points for the podcast answer, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a bonus point.
Yeah. Of course.
Awesome. Okay. Well, before we close up here, Kate, do you want to just kind of let our listeners know where they can find you, either in store or online?
Sure. So Wagging Tails is located in Tempe. We are on Southern between McClintock and the 101. You can find us online at waggingtailsaz.com.
Cool. And then do you have social media they can find you on?
Yes, it's Wagging Tails AZ.
Cool.
Perfect. Okay. Well, Kate, once again, we're so grateful for the opportunity you had to sit down today. It's definitely been a pleasure to kind of get to know you, hear about your business and all the good advice that you have for us and all of our listeners. So thanks again for coming on today. And to all our listeners, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you guys next week.
We will see you.
Thank you very much.